name's Ed. I'm with Rivers of Steel. Today we're going to do a little demo on how to make your very own cast aluminum artist tile. And you'll be carving into one of these resin bonded scratch block molds. We'll run you through the whole process, how to do it, all the tools, all the safety, and how this works. Alright, so you're going to be carving a resin bonded sand mold. It's a two-part epoxy mix mixed in with the sand and gets rammed into a shape to make this form for you to carve. This is what the metal will be poured into. These forms come out of there like that. The only real rules to doing this is that you can't carve all the way out the side of the mold. You can't carve all the way through the mold, because in those situations the metal will pour out of the mold. We want to keep it in there. And if you want to do text, you have to do it backwards. And the sand mold could be scratched with almost any tool you have. Forks work good, spoons, any sharp little scratchy objects. You can scratch right into it, and the scratch is pretty easy. Alright, so I got a piece of paper cut to the size of the scratch block. The one part of this that can be tricky is making your text or numbers backwards. So the easiest thing to do for that, just write it with a Sharpie on the piece of paper. We're just gonna do 1, 2, 3, like if that's your address. And then when you flip it around, that's how you have to carve it for it to be backwards. So you can sit it back in there, kind of get an idea where it's gonna go. You can sketch it onto here with a pencil or a Sharpie. And if you mess up, you can always just erase it. All right, so now I'm ready to start carving the mold. I got my safety glasses on so I don't get any sand in my eyes. I'm gonna start off with this smaller tool. Just start to rough in the numbers, and then I'll fill it out more as we go. So here we go, starting with number 1, 2. You can tell is once you're scratching it, you'll find like how the tool's working. Sometimes it's easier to drag. You can spin the mold around to make it easier to make your marks. And you see as you go, it'll start to fill up with sand. You can use the brush, get some of that sand out of the way so you can see how the carving's actually working out for you. Got a little wider tool here that'll work good for kind of fattening these up. You really want most of your lines, if you want them to really show up like a number sort of thing, you want it to be at least like a 1/4 inch wide and roughly a 1/4 inch deep. The deeper you carve into the sand mold, the further things will project into space, so that's carved deeper. And on this one I did like this background to scratching. I think I used this tool for this one, the corn holder. Works really good to just do this kind of hatchwork background on that one. But the deeper you carve, the further it projects into space, and then the shallower. It's kind of like thinking backwards. While you're doing this, you might want to like go to blow it out. Don't do that. Use the brush or just dump it out on the table. If you blow into it, you might blow the sand into your eyes, especially if you don't have on your safety glasses, if you forget. Alright, so I got my 1, 2, 3 in there, got it pretty cleaned up, got a nice consistent depth, and got those smoothed out, so I know that's deep enough and it's gonna show up nice, pop out. So I'm gonna start doing some little details around the edges now, maybe some little finer line work in there. Forks work really good for this, it's kinda cool, make stripes. I'll just stripe out the whole background. Alright, so I got stripes all in my background. Kind of show up something like what's got going on here. But say like, I don't know, I don't really like the stripes along the bottom now, so I'm gonna get rid of those. So I'm just gonna go in and carve a little deeper with a different tool. The spoon works pretty good. Do some like little twisties in there. Alright, so I'm just carving in a little deeper at the bottom, working out my design here, using all these different, I got the melon baller, this couple of different spoons, and you can just put them in there and like give it a spin and get these kind of cool like little dome shapes into the mold. Alright, so I think I'm finishing up here with this. I got my little bubble pattern carved in down at the bottom, got rid of all those straight lines on the bottom, but I kept them up top to kind of keep it different. Just kind of like sitting on a cloud, 1, 2, 3. And now I'm pretty much done with my carving, so the next step is like, it's ready to get poured in metal. So done with the scratch block portion, ready to move on to the fun metal casting part of this.
So she's going to scrape off a little bit of the impurities floating on top, and then she'll help kind of divvy it.
Running down?
Sure, unless you want to do one of those.
Doesn't matter. We're doing it all. So.
What material was the component?
It's ceramic, like a interior, and the standard.
Alright, so here's our poured scratch block mold, aluminum. We pour this today. Let's see what we get. Just a little bit of wire brushing. Oops, I want those on. Check my eyeballs. Boom, there it is. 1, 2, 3.